fact, I have been saying it for some time, and I did tell it to Professor Madhav Menon that National Law University's vice chancellorship should now be open also for experts of humanities. It will do a lot of good to the national law universities if not only people who are professors of law, but also professors of literature and humanities and social sciences, with whom we have a natural wedding, they should also be eligible. In fact, you would be surprised, Shivani, I have been writing on a subject of selection of vice chancellors, and I have been saying that this UGC rule, which says only a professor would be eligible to become a vice chancellor, is not the correct rule. We should also open vice chancellorship for the bureaucrats, for the army officers, for the judges, because some of the judges were excellent vice chancellors. Chief Justice of India, P.B. Gajind Gatkar, after his superannuation, became the vice chancellor of Bombay University. You had General Zamiruddin Shah as the vice chancellor in Aligarh. You had Mr. Hamid Ansari, a career diplomat, a foreign service officer as vice chancellor. You had K.R. Narayanan as vice chancellor. So some of the bureaucrats had made excellent vice chancellors. Ideally, we should cast the net wider. Because vice chancellorship is not about just academic leadership. It is not necessary that the vice chancellor himself should be the best of the academic, but he should create that ambience so that academics on the campus flourishes. That is his job. Therefore, you need good leaders. You need academic leaders. And in the huge traditional universities, at times, you have problems of indiscipline. So you may need IAS officers, or you may need army officers also as vice chancellors. So we should not narrow down our search for a vice chancellor. That has been, my argument. This is a whole philosophy of how should we govern a higher education institution. I have been in Aligarh. I have seen all kinds of vice chancellors. Since I am in higher education, I have been studying about other universities. The vice chancellors who treat university as a district generally fail as vice chancellors, because university administration is entirely different from the administration of a district. Two, vice chancellors who treat themselves to be, above all and center of all power, like an emperor. They behave like an emperor. They are not accessible to students and the faculty members. They also fail. University administration has many stakeholders. So you have teachers, you have non-teaching staff, you have students. In my opinion, the primary and the main stakeholders in any university are the students. Very interestingly, in the administration of the universities, we do not give them due importance. And that is why we as administrators face student protests. Because we never talk to them. We don't understand their problems. In fact, in national law universities, compared to traditional universities, there is more conversation between the administration and the students, because the size of the university is very, very small. But in traditional universities, one-to-one conversation between students and vice chancellors is extremely rare. I feel that a university is all about students. And therefore, students, what they want to study. That's why that is the whole reason of choice-based elective system. I am absolutely against the mandatory system. In fact, I am also against that too many subjects should be made compulsory by the regulator. The regulators should trust the universities. once they are conducting the bar exam, then universities should be given the freedom to design their course. Now, in the current scheme, there is not much scope for the universities to experiment. Knowledge creation requires a lot of freedom. Regulators must give that freedom. As far as administration is concerned, I believe every vice chancellor must have a lot of conversation with their students. I hold a lot of open houses. Even during COVID, we had, online open house. We also conducted the online union election. Why? And vice chancellor should also teach. Because if they go to the class and they teach well, and before the class, after the class, the students will tell them their problems, they would be sorted out. Between administration and students, there is adversarial relationship. But between teacher and taught, there is a relationship of affection and a relationship of respect. And therefore, I personally feel that to be a good vice chancellor, one must do a lot of teaching. In all 13 years, Shivani, I have met students without appointment. Whenever any student wants to meet me, I'm available. If there is some meeting going on in my office, I go outside my office, meet them, sort out their problem. And when therefore I came to Nalsar, what I did, I involved students in the administration of university in the big way, in the selection of books for the library, in the evaluation of tenders. All tenders which we do, I would nominate to the tender committee the SBC president. I also involved them in the making of regulations. When we are making the hostel regulations, when we are making the sexual harassment regulations, when we are making academic regulations, when we are making scholarship regulations, gold medal regulations, in all these regulations which are concerned about students, I think let them be a party to the making of law. And my experience has been that though at times they will have a wish list which will be very, very long, but when you talk and you say we cannot give you this, we cannot give you this, you would reach a point where you think there will be a consensus. They would also say that we would be governed by these regulations. You also think that you had a fairly good deal with the students. And once there is an ownership of students of university regulations, I think that makes the administration extremely easy because they themselves frame their regulations. And I trust my students. Many people may say, some of them may also indulge in discipline. Yes, they do. But look at their age. You are asking me the difference between the traditional, law departments and NLUs. You are getting extremely young people. They are just 18. Some of them, turn 18 when they join first year. So as a result, I think that this whole idea of what do you mean by discipline in a university? We are a university. We are not a prison. I am not a jailer. I am a teacher. I don't consider myself even to be a vice chancellor. And therefore, at times when students may indulge even in indiscipline, I personally feel that punishing them may not necessarily give you best of the results. I have taught criminal law for many, many years. I know the limitations of criminal sanctions. I have done hand-holding of many students and saved their career. At times they do commit mistakes. At times they may abuse your liberty model also. But when you weigh pros and cons of this model, where students are part of the administration, I feel it is a win-win situation both for the teachers as well as for the students and for the vice chancellor, because after all, they are all adult. We are not administering somebody who is our subject. Isn't so? They are our co-learners. We also learn through their questions. We also learn through their comments. So has to be a joint venture. Administration of the university, in my opinion, has to be a joint venture of teachers, student, and non-teaching staff.